Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everyone, to the YouTube channel. My name is KJ. And this is going to be my spoiler review for episode 5 of the new Hulu series / Disney Plus, The Twisted Tales of Amanda Knox, episode 5 spoiler review. If you have not seen this, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button? I truly appreciate that. If you could, that would help my YouTube channel out. And I thank you guys in advance. Come back and let me know what you think about episode 5 of The Twisted Tales of Amanda Knox. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with showing what happened to Raphael getting interrogated, and it was very intense. And, they're just pressing on questions to get him to crack or confess, and just to pretty much to switch up his story, which they did because of the fact that they had a picture of a shoe print that matches to the shoes that he was wearing, which I would believe it's like Nike Air Force Ones. It looks like. I could be wrong. I'm not really a sneakerhead like that, but that's what it looked like, just the pattern of the underneath of the shoe. And to the thing they show is just like through this episode, this is pretty much narrated by Raphael himself, and I don't know how to pronounce his first name, so I'll just use his last name, but it's Raphael is the last name. But this is just narrating through his perspective, and mostly through his emotions, his feelings. This is not based on the detective work and the trial. A little bit of it, but not too much. But what we see is how something that on the police side with all the detectives in this trial, it seems very corrupted. And they're willing to corrupt Raphael and turn on Amanda Knox. And why did they do that? Because I think right now, based on this episode, just episode 5, is that they were trying to end this court thing. They were trying to end it, close it up and move on, just to please, Italy, the justice system, and the family of Meredith and other people who were involved. But, that's really not the case of it, but that's the ugly side of what a murder trial happens, especially in Italy or anywhere around the world, honestly, at times. But that's the glimpse, because we also get glimpse of his childhood life, as he seems like he's a mama's boy. He was always there for his mom, and they just show they were very close to it, and they see like Raphael's father is wanting to divorce and leave, his mother / would be his wife, the father's wife, ex-wife. And we see that. So, and the thing is, he's watching like anime, cartoons, superhero type cartoons from the 90s or 80s. And it's just him trying to be a hero. He wants to be the hero. That's how he always wants to be presented in his own mind. Like, he's always been a kind person. He's always there to do the right thing. But we see through this whole episode of his background, like, the situation of his mom just being really sick. Pretty much the family, his sister, is just pretty much wanting him to live his own life. And that's what we kind of get through this as well, as it switches back and forth from his past to the current time, which it does when it takes us to March 27th, 2009 at 2:58 p.m., day 71 of the trial, as Amanda and Raphael are getting ready. And then it goes to June 10th of 2008 at 3:42 p.m., and it's 65 days in prison. So this is when they're on trial, they're just waiting, but then it takes us a little bit back to what he was doing in prison on Raphael's side, and we see he's just struggling. He's not the tough guy, but you gotta be tough in prison. You gotta be tough. But it's different, but he's trying to make the best of it, but he's struggling, right? He's just struggling. And then, Raphael's family wants him to turn on Amanda and just pin it on her, which, that's this whole episode is just watching him crack. Just get to it, lead it up to it. Raphael's dad went on live TV to prove the shoe evidence was wrong, but unfortunately that backfired, and they found DNA on Meredith's bra. Now, what's really interesting about these whole evidence is, the lawyers that represent Raphael and Amanda is not quite solid. They even proved it where the DNA analysis wasn't really, quote unquote, had a certification. But the fact is, they found evidence, and that's what they're using. So it's very shifty, very shady-like. And honestly, it really sucks to see that, but that's how it played out through this. And it makes you want to feel bad for Raphael, too, because Raphael and Amanda, their relationship seemed very real. The love to each other seems very realistic. It seemed like they genuinely fell in love with each other. They seem to actually care. But under this situation, it really can make you or break you. And the pressure of going to prison for a long time is very scary, and again, so it makes sense, but it makes you feel sad for Raphael. Now they're making Raphael look like he forced himself onto Meredith, where this is where reality hits him so much. And he thinks back to November 6, 2007 at 9:58 a.m., 5 days since Meredith's death. And throughout this whole episode, we just see he just thinks back. And, he's somebody who always takes care of his mom and always wants to help. So there's just him just trying to help Amanda, just trying to be there for him. But, but then it leads to the question in this episode, did he do it? Did he help her? Did Amanda Knox just use him to do the crime? Who knows? But whatever it is, he was in love with this woman. And it just shows even he was kind of not understanding the reality of the situation as well. So they show they have a lot of things in common between the two. The silliness, the goofiness. But, is it defending her worth it? And he just didn't want to be like his father when his father left his mother. And then this, to me, I feel like at times he might have been getting played. And I think he would have done anything for love. But, just based off him taking care of his mom, but his family again wanted him to be his own person. And we're seeing this throughout this whole episode of that. And so this, to me, this episode is more about Raphael, like how this is going to affect his whole life. And still through this episode, they haven't yet shown a scene of what Meredith's death actually looked like. You know, we haven't seen the body yet. Well, we have, but we haven't seen her get, executed. We haven't seen the crime happen, basically, in a scene, which we got 6, 7, 8 episodes, 3 episodes left. So hopefully one of them will have one of those scenes. But no matter what they showed, is we, as the viewers, we don't know what actually happened because they haven't given us that particular scene yet. And then at the one point, Amanda breaks up with Raphael through a letter. And this really breaks him down. It broke him, broke his heart. He just gave up. He said, just keep me in prison, throw away the key. Right? And while he was in court, he finally snapped and turned on Amanda. And he didn't want to, but this comes from his mother passing away. And he even explains to Amanda, about that. And it was just very sweet and sentimental. And she knew that was going to happen. And, he pretty much said he had nothing to do with it. He read the way his parents, sister, his dad and sister wanted Raphael to say it, including the lawyer, the way she wanted him to say it in the court. And it was just bad. Even they had a video animation of showing what they think how the killing went. But that's what happened. And so he just turned on her. But that just shows you, in a way, like the justice system can make you or break you. Make you do things you wouldn't think you would do in desperation times. Because at the end of this episode, when they get the final verdict, and it was between Amanda and Raphael. I think Amanda gets 26 years, and I think Raphael gets 25 years in prison. Obviously, both of them dropped and were in shock, and that was it. And, they're scared. Like, that's a lot of years in prison. And depending how you want to look at this, it's just it's a sad situation to me personally, because I think what has happened is, somebody, that wasn't somebody's choice. That wasn't Meredith's choice for her fate in life. It was just a young girl or a young woman, a young adult, who just wanted to live her life and start her life in a way, and it got taken away from her. So I understand the mother of Meredith and any other family member who was at that trial who wanted justice for their daughter, their cousins, their sisters, their niece, their granddaughter, whoever was actually there. It's not fair to them that this tragic event happened to Meredith. And it's sad. It's sad because nothing good ends up the right way for anybody in a scenario like this. And that's just shows case. Like, the justice system just was very shady. It seems very little corrupted about the whole thing. But also, innocent people were actually hurt. Innocent people were involved and still don't know how they got involved, including Raphael. He just doesn't understand how he got involved. And that's what the issue is. So to me, that was really sad and just shows the dark side. Like, this did not have a realistic happy ending. Even though they were teasing at the end of the episode that they actually had the DNA analysis team had somebody actually holding a camera and had footage. So they're teasing the idea of, how come we didn't see this? Why didn't they present this in court? And there's many reasons why I can think that. The one thing I think is their evidence were there were evidence, but I don't think it was actually legit evidence to solve a crime, a murder mystery type crime. And I think now we're going to see in the next 3 episodes Amanda Knox's perspective, viewpoint of how she and others, including Raphael, who were in her opinion, in her mind, that they were wrongfully wrong for this incident. And I honestly now I think maybe Amanda Knox is innocent in this for sure. But it just leaves it up in a mystery of, this is your imagination to go with it. Because, there's so many ways you can look through this episode situation. You can look at it one like, some people would do things for love. Love will make you do crazy things. And maybe in an extreme situation like this. But also you can look at it as, maybe none of them were involved. Maybe they're all innocent, and this got pinpointed on the wrong people, and the right person who actually committed the crime is actually still out there. Maybe even to this day, who knows? But I think that's just it's which way how you want to perceive this, and they leave it up to the audience on how you want to feel about it. But other than that, this is a really interesting case. But this episode again was more on his view, on Raphael's viewpoint of this, because this is how he was feeling. These were like, he was thinking back about his mom, because he feels like since he wasn't there when his mom passed away, like he missed it, he didn't want to leave Amanda aside because he didn't want to miss her. But when she sent him a letter and broke up with him, that really hurt him, because he was willing to stand up for her side by side, and she just pretty much kicked him to the curb. But again, they were both locked up. The situation's a little different. So the way you want to look at it is just the way you want to look at it through this. But to me, this was really, I just felt sad for this guy. I felt sad because, I think he was doing the right thing the heroic way. But unfortunately, when you're on trial, that does not help beat the case. So if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this a 6.5. This is really good. I wish they were to show more about, like, with Meredith. We haven't seen more flashbacks with Meredith. And I think that should have been more of the focus, is about Meredith. Like, I know they were in court and the trial episodes were important, but they're saving all that other stuff that I'm wanting to see probably in the next 3 episodes. But other than that, it was still really good. Very intense, very dramatic, very sad, very heartwarming at times too. And it just had, this is such a good series, and I'm enjoying it. and they're teasing so many things that could happen in the next episode. So to me, this episode really is hyping up the next three. So really loved it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. So that is my spoiler review. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.